I appreciate that, Hal. On a positive note, we're hearing a lot of things that are good. We're hearing some things that are bad. The good part is I'm looking at some of the finest people in the country, people who care about their country. I'm also looking at a number of elderly people, and I'm over 60 myself, so I can say that. People, I'm talking to probably the greatest generation this country has ever known. I just talked to Mr. Johnny Crawford out there. Johnny Crawford delivered my mail out on Route 5 50 years ago. Johnny Crawford just gave me another piece of bubble gum. I'm afraid to try to chew it right now. For those of you that don't know Johnny Crawford, need to. He's 90 years old. He was delivered by a doctor that rode out here on a wagon on a dirt road just a few miles up the Cartuga J Creek. Johnny Crawford's here tonight. He's part of that great generation that brought America from the Great Depression to the greatest economic times any of us will ever know again. And we want to thank you people for it. I want to thank the young boy that was just up here. That did my heart good to see youth here. Youth that cares about their country. People, this is paramount. This is so significant to see a young man so, one, educated, two, disciplined, and three, inspired to be a conservative American. You do not have to, nor will you ever need to in this country, apologize for being conservative. You do not have to be politically correct. That's behind us now. We know where we stand. And let me tell you something else you may not have thought about tonight. 50% of the people in America feel the same way you do. There is hope. There is a positive note out there. We will do what this country needs. I want to read a couple of things. I'm bad to ramble. I'm an ex-school teacher, self-employed for 32 years. I came to Macon County with $1,100 in my pocket. My wife, and there it is, my six-month-old daughter. She was 6 months old when we moved to Macon County with $1,100. I can tell you about taxes. I've been to the Macon County commissioners. I kicked the podium one night because one of them wasn't paying attention to me. I said, Hoss, let me tell you something. I came out here to speak my heart to you. I want you to listen to. If you can take in this great country of ours and turn $1,000 into a lot of money, there is no law, there is no group of people, there's no right for anybody to take that from you. I use an analogy, and I want to use a serious analogy, and I hope I don't offend anybody. I have no intention of it, but I'm bad to do that anyway, so just bear with me. Here is Farmer A, and here is Farmer B. This is the classic example. The same thing I did for the county commissioners one night, except one day I took a 5-gallon bucket, I poked holes in it, I walked in and said, let me tell y'all something. You punch another hole in this bucket, which represents the wealth of Macon County, and you drain it one more time, you'll never fill that bucket. We must not develop new programs that we cannot afford. You don't like taxes? Well, then quit asking for things. Be self-sufficient. There's no way. They can't give you Meals on Wheels unless they tax somebody that's at work that day. As good as it sounds, as nice as it might be, you cannot get blood from a turnip. The money that our government wastes, spends, and uses, they don't work, people. The government does not make money. They pull it out of one man's pocket and they give it to another. I call it the takers and the doers. That's where we're at in America, and it's our own fault. We asked for it, we've got it. Now we better rein in the facts. Look at Farmer A and look at Farmer B right here. I use green because that maybe represents Farmer A is a little more wealthy than Farmer B. But let me tell you something. They both had 40 acres of land. They each got 20 pounds of corn seed. They each got 2 tons of fertilizer. Farmer A's family, and God, what a wonderful word that is. Farmer A's family worked together. They plowed. They took care of their equipment. They ran a neat, productive farm. They produced a bountiful harvest, as many of you have done in your lives. I know that. On the other side of the valley was Farmer B. They didn't care too much about what was going on. They didn't plow deep. They didn't plow straight. They didn't clean their plow at the end of the day. They didn't groom the mule. They didn't water him responsibly. Some of the kids is off doing this. Some of the kids is off doing that. Mom and Pa fighting and fussing and carrying on. Farmer B's crops were pitiful. Now, Farmer A's crops were bountiful. Surplus crops. What do we do in America today to that scenario? We're going to take Farmer A and we're going to shove him up in the 40% tax bracket. We're going to take his corn and we're going to break his back and tell him he's got to work longer days to keep Farmer B up. And we're going to send you a check, Farmer B, because you just didn't do real well. People, this can't go on. This is an imbalance. It's wrong to think that the world should be fair. It is not fair. We can be benevolent. We can be good Christian people and give and help and do. But it is so wrong and so sinful to go to Farmer A and milk his goat for him. That's not necessary. People in this country got to where we are today in those short 12 generations that Ben Franklin alluded to. I can remember 5 generations of my family, 6 generations actually, counting our new grandson. That's half of America's lifetime. If you go back 5 or 6 generations, and I know some of you older folks here, and I don't mean that to be derogatory, I have the tremendous respect for people who have been there and done that. People that walked on dirt roads and never heard an automobile crank up till they're in their 20s. They're here tonight. You cannot take from productive people and hand it to unproductive people. I'm sorry. That's not politically correct, but it's a fact. You can't do that anymore. The system cannot sustain that type of growth. Thomas Jefferson, your buddy, said many years ago too, a government that is big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take everything you have. And I promise you, the time is nigh. We're at a crossroads in our country that is greater than the World War II. It's almost as significant as the Civil War when our nation divided. People, we must come together. We must not bite our lips. We must not necessarily be politically correct to be vogue and in tune with the latest social function where you felt like I couldn't say that because I might hurt somebody's feelings. But let me tell you what, when we fall down, there's going to be a lot of feelings hurt. You're going to be hurting from the ground up. We're going to leave our children a legacy that they'll never survive from if we don't change something real soon. I have no political aspirations. I have no political desires. I do have a desire to take my earnings that me and my wife have worked 32 years for and be able to keep some of that in my pocket that I sewed the patch on those pants. It is not wrong to be conservative. Don't give in to your liberal friends that say, oh, but you're right wing. Damn right I'm right wing, and I'm proud of it, people. I'm very proud of it. Don't forget, conservative, hardworking, moral people built America. It's only taken a handful of these vile, evil, I don't know where they're headed liberals. They've taken the prayer out of our schools. They've taken the Pledge of Allegiance out of our schools while we sit and let it happen. We're responsible for that, and we also have the right and the responsibility to regain that freedom that we want. That's another form of freedom. Freedom to have your life the way you want it to be. Do not let the liberal left take it from you. Don't let somebody say, we're getting too far. Listen, people, they're out there. And they have more time on their hands because they constitute the largest portion of what I call the takers. They're out there taking while you folks are paying taxes. It's got to stop. We've got to make a plan. We've got to work together. And I never followed one of these notes. I don't even know why I brought them. I needed to share that with you. I mean, this is the greatest country in the world. Why would 11 million from one country alone want to come to this country, for God's sakes, if it wasn't the greatest country in the world, built by the greatest people in the world? People, we're still half of this fight. It's halftime. We can go in there, we can get a Red Bull, swallow it quick, and come back out on the field and play this game like it's supposed to be played, long and hard. Thank you for being here tonight.